Hello. Welcome to another episode of 40 Weeks for Men, a resource for men by men in order to help us dads be the best we can be in this crazy, crazy world. So we've got a really interesting topic today that we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about what parents need to know to have a safer childbirth. And I've got an awesome guest that I'm so grateful has come all the way from across the pond to speak with me today and to encourage our listeners about this topic. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Chris, thanks for having me. I
Thanks for
am
coming.
super excited about today. I've watched some of your stuff. You are awesome. I love what you're doing. And based on our pre-show, I think we're going to have a pretty awesome podcast. So I have been an attorney specializing in childbirth cases for over 20 years. So basically, when there's a childbirth case, that means that during the birth of a baby, something went wrong, whether it was a mistake, a complication, but baby was not born healthy. Um, or some cases, baby passed away during childbirth. And then I've had some super, super sad cases where mom has passed away
Yeah.
during childbirth. So I've done that for over 20 years. It's though so basically as the attorney, I come in and I'm like, all right, what happened?
Yeah.
Why, what went wrong? But probably the most important question I have to figure out or ask is what should have been done so
Mm.
baby would have been born healthy, born alive, mom not pass away during childbirth. Because I'll tell you, I mean, those are hard questions, and the hardest part of my job is when the day I have to sit down with the families and talk about the day their baby was born, or if I'm looking, sometimes I'm talking to a husband and he's like, telling me about the day his wife passed away. So this is some serious stuff. When I started in this field, I never had heard about it. Just was looking for my first job straight out of law school, and I stumbled on it. But having a baby at that point, I was younger, was on my radar. So I am like, what? Things go
Yeah.
wrong? Not only do they go wrong, but I'm like, I got hired into a team. There's a team of us. This is all we do. So this does happen. I know a lot of people are, always the mentality, bad things always happen to other people. Well, listen, that leaves you in a very vulnerable state of mind, and I would not recommend it on one of the biggest days of your life. Anyway, so that's a little about my soapbox there, but this is
That's
some
so good.
serious stuff. So basically, after 20 years of doing this, seeing the mistakes and complications, I figured out, listen, there's some reoccurring issues in these cases, some common problems, that I'm seeing. So basically, instead of getting involved after a mistake has been made or something bad happened to mom or baby, I'm trying to get involved now beforehand, before childbirth, in hopes that we can prevent these mistakes and complications and more, there's more healthy babies. So basically, my first step in that was writing a book. So I wrote a
Yeah.
book, Parent's Guide to a Safer Childbirth. It was published this year, June 2023. So
Yeah.
hoping parents start reading it. The parents that have been amazing. Yeah, they've loved it. They're so grateful. I get the best reviews on Amazon. They feel comfortable, ready for childbirth. And yeah, as far as I know, everybody's baby who had, if they've read my book, they've had a healthy baby.
Yeah, so wonderful. That's really what I'm hoping today. So I'm so grateful, Gina, that you're here with me. And yeah, we're gonna talk about this today. And obviously, like a lot of like the biggest thing of 40 weeks for men, it's all about families. But like a lot of men, dads listen to this podcast. And I'm really hoping that today, with our conversation, they can be encouraged to think about things that they can do to have safe and healthier babies when it comes to childbirth. Because a lot of the time, what I've heard from men is that they can feel like a bit of a third wheel when it comes to pregnancy and when it comes to childbirth. Like they're not really important. I'm hoping that as we talk today, we can think about how they are important and actually they can be encouraged to do more.
The key
Yeah.
to a safer childbirth is literally starting with dad. I mean, this
Really?
is not, dads can make sure that their wife and their baby are safe, baby is born healthy, mom comes home, so does baby. So men have a lot of power. And I think I hear a lot like, oh, my husband, he just kind of froze or he wasn't really good. And I'm like, haven't, okay, no
Hmm.
more because they do hold the key unequivocally. Because in a lot
Yeah.
of these situations, if the dads had stepped in, if the dads had prepared for childbirth, if they know what's in my book, then they can help their wife make those good decisions. Because I'll tell you, in my baby cases, these families are one decision or minutes from a healthy baby. So I'm telling you, good decisions equal healthy babies. So it's really important for dads to step in and prepare. Don't let, your wifey just wants to, let's get the nursery ready, and instruct you to paint, instruct you to put the crib together, get the
Yeah.
closet ready. I'm going to hang up the cute clothes. But it's more than that. It's making sure that, baby comes home. So all that work you're putting into for those 9 months into the nursery, that baby and you and wifey can enjoy it.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful. And obviously, you guys knew me already. I'm obviously Chris, the founding father, this 40 weeks man thing. But I've got 3 kids and I care about babies so much. And like, it's really wonderful that even across the pond, Gina's all the way in America, and I'm here in the UK. And we can talk about this and think about how we can better help dads be more involved when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth. So I will be taking some notes for myself. I'm not planning on having any more kids. I'll be very honest. But if I did, and to encourage my friends, I could learn some stuff here. So let's go on to the second question. Is that all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect. Let's go on to the second question. So, in your opinion, what do you think dads need to do more in order to have a safe childbirth? What do they need to know more in order to have a safe childbirth?
Great question. So, chapter 1 of my book, it goes over the lessons learned from the baby cases, whether it's from the families, whether it's from the delivery team, whether it's from the medical experts. Those are the lessons. If dads know these lessons, they're sitting pretty. So, it is actually, that chapter is so important. I have it on my website for free. Just download it, share it, because it is such important information. So
Nice.
you have
What's your
Gina,
website? What's your website? What's your
yeah,
website?
Gina Mundy,
Yes.
GINA
Yeah.
MUNDY
Yeah.
.com. Go to expecting parents and go to
Okay.
chapter 1. Boom. Download it, send it. You know someone that's expecting, send it over. Those are your lessons. Okay.
Perfect.
Lesson
Perfect.
number. So then each lesson is a subsequent chapter. So lesson number 1 is from the families. You don't just roll up to labor and delivery not knowing anything. You have to prepare. Okay, because we just talked about this. You're part of the mentality we're all guilty of. Bad things only happen to other people. You are left in this vulnerable state. All you can do is really just listen to, the delivery team, which by the way are usually just the people who are scheduled to work that day. They're the ones that are, responsible for bringing your baby safely into the world. So that's lesson 1, learn about labor and delivery. So I wrote a chapter, what do you need to know about childbirth? This is not some fluffy pregnancy book that, you're going to read about some weird stuff. No, this is actually what I know as a childbirth attorney that I find important. These are these are the things that my kids will know before childbirth, because how I prepare my family and my kids, much different, obviously, than, how a family would traditionally prepare. So I give you, these are the facts you need to know. If you know these things, then you're going to be able to make those, better decisions, those good decisions. So then, that's like lesson 1. There's what, 13 lessons. So there's a bunch of them, but, just I'll give you one more lesson. This one's a good one. You got to be able to pick the good doctor. You got 9 months to
Yeah.
figure out if your doctor knows how to deliver your baby or not. Okay, listen, most
Yeah.
doctors are great. Some irritate me. but most of them are good doctors trying to do what's right. Okay. But it's still very important. They are head of your delivery team. They're the ones making the recommendations that you're either going to say yes or no to. So having that good doctor is important. I go through, what do you need to know about your good doctor? I've literally been analyzing OBGYN doctors for over 20 years
Yeah.
because I'm the one that has to stick them in front of a jury, and juries like good doctors, right? So there's this whole doctor analysis I do every single doctor I meet. Now it's in the book. But I've had a lot of people read that chapter and be like, no, this is information I'm going to use in every doctor in my life. So I do like that chapter because it is something then you can apply to, everybody else. But
Yeah.
it's basically going through the lessons, understanding what you can learn, and then whether you buy my book or you Google some of this stuff or you read a different book, it's just getting ready and learning about childbirth, understanding that your delivery team, if you don't like someone on your delivery team, it's okay to, request somebody else. If you're not a fan of your nurse, be like, I want a new nurse. And that happens a lot, but people don't understand that that's even an option. And in most
Yeah.
hospital systems, if there's a nurse that, she's not really that good, the other nurses already know she sucks. So
Yeah.
you just have to be, but the good nurse who is a really good nurse, she can't stick her head in your room and say, hey, your nurse sucks. If you want a new one, let me know.
Yeah.
But your nurse sucks. You don't like her. Your dad. You're protection mode now, right? You
Yeah.
request that new nurse, and they'll give you one because they already know she sucks. I'm telling you, they're
Yeah.
already on the same page, but there's nothing they can do. These are massive hospital systems. The other nurses are not doing the hiring and firing, but they can do what they do best when you ask for help, and that is to help
For
you.
sure. And that is so true what you're saying, because you need to be confident enough to know that that's an option. You can actually say, I want a different person. And actually, that's what I hope that the dad's listening or whoever's listening to this episode will be like, bro, I realized that's an option now. I can actually do that.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can. So I have one chapter. It's called the delivery team. So you may appreciate this. So I'm like, these are. So when I have a case and I get I have a delivery team or whatever. I call them. There's three different types of delivery teams. One, your dream team. You want the dream team. Okay, remember, they're bringing babies safely into the world. You want the dream team. Number two, team with the bad apple. Maybe that's the bad nurse you don't like, or you may get like a doctor in training who's lost. Just careful of them. Three, the third team, I just call them Bush League. And that is just, you have two or more people, it's not good. So we got to go over what to do. So listen, Bush League teams, those were early on in my career. I don't see too many of those anymore. But I had to add it in there because just on the off chance somebody get two more people they don't like on their delivery team. But go through, this is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's charge nurses. This is how the hospital works. This is who you ask. It gives dad like this guide on what to do. So you're not like, okay, my team has a bad apple. What do I do? No, just read the book. It'll tell you exactly what to do.
That's a good shout. I'm gonna say it again. So your website is ginamundy.com. Yeah?
Yeah,
GINAMUNDY.com.
nice.
Love it. I
Nice.
hope that my listeners will go and see that because it will really encourage them and actually give them the knowledge to be able to have a safe childbirth. And that's what we all want. That's what we all want. So, in light of all of that, let's go on to the third question. So, I'm really thinking, like, you've spoken about this in your book as well, and also, like, on previous episodes that you spoke to different people. But, like, there's an emotional side to pregnancy and to childbirth. And I want to know, in your opinion, how do we get dads, men, to engage more with the emotional side of childbirth and pregnancy?
That's a great question. The only thing I can say is just prepare,
Mm,
and it's about expectations.
mm,
Listen, okay. When your wife goes into labor, she enters literally a different state of mind. I've had the doctors testify to this. The testimony is in the book. Okay. It is the only time in life where it's acceptable to be in a crap ton of pain. Okay. And if you don't want to be pain, then you're medicated up. Okay.
Yeah.
And not only that, you have this major baby in your belly, and now it has to now it's time. Okay. It's very emotional.
Yeah.
So, and I know that guys are like, oh my. So I think if you just, you just prepare and you learn about childbirth and it's emotional. And then I also, put her on. I think also to help your wife with her emotions is to know that you are there, you are ready, and you're going to protect your wife and your baby at all costs. Because if she knows that, she's going to chill out and do what she needs to do to physically and mentally deliver the baby. So I think you going through this book and you're like, baby, I got it. You do your thing, I'll do mine. We're coming home with this baby in 2 days.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really good advice and really good advice. Because yeah, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing, but like especially in the UK, and my friends, like I've got three young babies, 6, 3, and 1. And like I think there's this, especially among my friends, we don't really want to deal with the emotional side of pregnancy or that childbirth. We're just like leave that alone. But one thing I'm noticing is that when you do that, you and your spouse are kind of disconnected. And like she's going through all this emotional stuff by herself, and you're not really involved. And then we're trying to think about safer childbirth. And like the only way to really have that is to be involved. So I'm like, you need to take all of it, the emotional side and the non-emotional side. But yeah,
So this is important. I probably should have mentioned this a minute ago.
go on.
So in my book, I talk about a baby advocate and like a
Yes.
mommy advocate, a baby advocate. And this is really something, excuse me, that dads can do. And as the advocate, you're going to be working to protect the baby. So in
Yes.
that chapter, it starts with a powerful story, like kind of what is a baby advocate, what can you do? But I finished that chapter with, the 5 things that, dads or, even like an expecting grandma, whoever, what they need to do and what they need to know so that they can be a good advocate and protect baby, protect mom. So again, I give a guide on basically exactly what you need to do. But I'm telling you again, you're like, I'm going to protect you. I'm not just going to sit there, in a fetal position, whatever. No pun intended. But yeah, like I just said that. Yeah. Yeah, I just said that. So, you're not going to just sit there, but you're going to work to protect them. And listen, that's
Yeah.
what moms want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect you. It's going to be okay. And I'm going to be your advocate. I'm going to be the baby's advocate. I know my shit. And you're
Yeah.
good. I'm telling you, her emotions are going to be way more calm. And she's going to be absolutely in love with you. So you'll be good.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. And we all want love. It's a good thing.
Yes.
So, the fourth question that I'm gonna ask you is, in your opinion, obviously you've been through lots and lots of different things. In your opinion, what is a good childbirth?
So that's a great question. I could take this a couple different ways. Um, I'll start with this way because this is interesting. This is in the book. So childbirth attorneys typically have scheduled elective C-sections because we're too uptight. We can't unsee what we've seen. We can't unknow what we know. So we are a different breed. We tend to do elective C-sections at 39 weeks, lowest risk to baby. I've never had a case involving an elective C-section at 39 weeks. However, that is major surgery, and it's more of a mental thing for us because for us to relax in order to allow our body to do what it needs to do is probably impossible. So most most people don't know what I know. I mean, even in my book is fluffy and more preventative. Nobody knows what's in my head. You don't want to know what's in my head. So, and just what I've seen, it's hard shit. And but to me, like I wrote this book because I do for my kids, because I do in case, especially if I'm not around. But I think like what I would tell my kids is that if you can naturally deliver your baby without a bunch of drugs, you're sitting pretty. Because another chapter in my book, which is different than, and again, and you're not going to find this anywhere. It's the most common facts and issues in a legal baby case.
Yeah.
What do I see the most as an attorney? Well, guess what it is? The number one most common fact and issue in a legal baby case is Pitocin. Pitocin
Yeah.
is used to induce mom's labor.
Or is
So it
that the
makes,
hormone drip? I
yeah,
think
it's a
in
synthetic,
UK we call
yeah,
it
synthetic
syntocin. Yeah,
Yep, nice. You do
yeah,
know that. Nice,
yeah.
nice, impressive. So listen, that I get a new baby case in, the most common thing I read most of the time in my cases, mom is being induced with Pitocin. I
Yeah.
don't like Pitocin. Doctors are fine with Pitocin, but I've seen the inductions, gone wrong for a long time. So
Yeah.
not only that, but you start mom on Pitocin and her contractions are like out of this world. So what do
Yeah.
moms on Pitocin do? They get an epidural. And it's almost like this cascade effect, It's like Pitocin, epidural, right? And now we're looking at now babies just a bunch of contractions, which if you read in my book, you'll learn what contractions mean to a baby. Very, very
Mhm.
important. So if you can stay away from the Pitocin induction, if you can stay away from the epidural, and let your body do what your body's meant to do, if you can
Yeah.
relax, you can get in there and relax. You relax by getting ready for childbirth, being able to pivot if you need to, talking about, if it's a wife, having a great husband who's ready to
Mm.
advocate, ready to help you make those good decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically the other part I would do as natural as possible.
Yeah.
But the only thing I would do is any concerns about baby, I would want the fetal monitor on my belly. Um,
Yeah.
because listen, dads, baby's inside of mom. So, you can look at mom and be like, oh shit, you don't look good. Baby, you can't look at baby and say, oh shit, you don't look good. Okay. The
True.
only
Very
way you
true.
can tell if your baby's okay during labor and delivery is by their heart rate. So it graphs right next to your wife's bed. So you can look over and you can literally tell how your baby is doing. I go over this in the book, what to look for, but I can look at a baby's heart rate and I can tell you, is baby a rock star or is baby struggling? So
Yeah.
again, dads, you need to know this. If your wife knows, you can look at the baby's heart rate and say baby's fine or baby's not fine. That gives her reassurance, because then the delivery team cannot just stay at your bedside, mom's bedside, and in the room with you guys the whole time. So having that independent knowledge allows you then to work with your delivery team, alert your delivery team if there's a problem. And then together, you make sure baby is healthy, mom's good, and life's great.
It's a really good shout. So as natural as possible and encouraging people to understand what's going on with babies. So using fetal monitoring and actually having a dad that is engaged in that will help the whole process. Really great stuff. Really great stuff. Thank you so
Thanks, Chris.
much, Gina. I really appreciate it. I want to ask you, how do we find out about everything that's going on, Gina Mundy, and how do we stay engaged with that?
Oh, the best way is my website,
Nice.
ginamundy.com. So, I have right now, I don't know when you're launching the episode, but I have chapter one up there. Chapter one will always stay up on my
Yeah.
website. That's just too important to ever take down. Right now, I do have Baby Advocate up there, but I kind of put it up there for, I was on a podcast. I'm like, I'll stick it up there for your audience. But then people have been loving it. So I'm like, all right, because it is, again, it's an important chapter. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's up there. Why I wrote the book is the introduction to the book. It's a very scary, it's not scary. It's keep you on the edge of your seat story.
Yeah.
But then I have a childbirth blog. So basically right now, it took me 14 months and thousands of hours to write my book.
Mm,
Because I wrote it childbirth and pregnancy, but then it was too long, so I divided it into two. So this is the book,
yeah,
this book is just about childbirth. Okay, this is nothing pregnancy. That
yeah.
book will come in the future one day.
Good,
I'm a mom of
good.
three. I'm a partner in a law firm, author. I'm doing my best here. But my point is of telling you that is I started a blog. It's like a pregnancy blog. So the content from the pregnancy book, I'm starting to put that up there. If I'm like, oh, I forgot to put something in the childbirth book, then I blog it. So the
Yeah,
blog will have a lot of good information for parents.
nice.
And then there's I'm trying to get my podcasts up there that I've done because I'm on some really great podcasts with great people like you out there trying to help dads. So
Mm,
there'll be other resources, especially as I grow in doing this
yeah,
stuff. I'm just the more all I want to do is make sure mom and dad have healthy baby and everything, they enjoy that
yeah.
powerful moment. So whatever
I
I need to
like
do
that.
up on my website, you know,
Yeah,
and
I
there's
like
no
that.
like, I don't make anyone subscribe, give me email or besides
Yeah,
my book, I don't charge for anything because I
yeah.
do believe I know things, a lot of things that if other parents knew, they would help them have a
Healthier
healthy.
babies. Yeah. It's really cool. Really, really cool. And I'm hoping that we will stay in contact. And when you actually get your finger out and do the pregnancy book, then you need to talk about that. Because it'd be
Time
good.
to
No,
visit
seriously.
Kristen.
God, yeah. Yeah. I'm so grateful for today. Thank you that we could talk about how to get a healthier baby and how to get dads more involved. And I hope that people would listen to this and be encouraged. Play, pause, rewind, do whatever they need to do to make sure they get the nuggets of gold in this conversation. But yeah, we'll close it there. Is there anything else that you want to say to the people that are listening as we close?
No, I mean, you're awesome. I love it. The only other thing is actually if so Pitocin is the number one most common fact in a legal baby case.
Yeah.
So I've seen the Pitocin inductions gone wrong since February 2003. So I do have a chapter
Yeah.
on how to have a safe Pitocin induction. So if you do know anybody who's going to be induced, that is a huge chapter that everybody should read before
Should
they do
read.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway, otherwise, I mean, there's so much in the book. There's no way we could cover it. So thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
exactly.
You are awesome. I love being on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right. Thank you, guys. Please enjoy this episode and please watch the space for much, much more.